lie down, extend your arms, extend your legs. Take 30 seconds here. Close your eyes. Feel the ground underneath you. Bring awareness and attention to your breath, how the breath is moving through your body. And this is where we start. We start by calling to mind, where is the beginning for this practice today? How are you feeling? And stretch your arms overhead. Maybe bring your feet a little closer together. Try to get as tall as you can from your fingers down to your toes. Big reach. And then pull your knees into your chest. They can be a little bit parted, especially in the beginning. Lift your head and shoulders off the mat, and then try to hug in a little bit tighter. Let your head and shoulders come back down. Keep that extra squeeze of the knees, thighs into the chest. And release it out. Set the soles of your feet to the ground. Good. Right leg up to the sky. Certainly you can use your hands for support or take a strap along the bottom of your foot. And pull the foot a little closer to you until you find a nice stretch down the back of your leg. I like to think of the level of stretch on like a 0 to 10 scale. 0 being the lightest stretch, 10 being the most. Try to keep yourself around the 5 or the 6 when you start your stretch. Sometimes just with length of time, it starts to go up towards the 7, the 8, and I just never really want to go beyond that 8. So if we start a little bit lower over time, even if it retches up, it's not too bad. Okay, lower the right leg down, sole of the foot. Do the same thing, nice little concentration on the second side. So I know if my foot is straight up in the air, I'm at a 1 in terms of the intensity of the stretch, and I just bring the foot a little closer until it's more towards 4, 5, or 6. The beginning of the practice, we're just trying to find a little bit of opening here. All the pigeon pose variations that we'll work with today, it's a hip opener, but really as that pose progresses, it very quickly, it's in the back bend category. So strong, healthy, open hips, need longer hamstrings, and supple, strong spine, both ends of the spectrum. Okay, lower the left leg down. Reach the arms overhead again. And bring yourself up to a seated position. If you have a yoga block handy, grab it. You can sit on your butt, or you can sit with a blanket propping you up a little bit. Take your yoga block in the widest position possible. If you do not have a yoga block, separate your feet about the width of a yoga block, and then like fist, press your fist into your feet. So we're going to put that yoga block right in between our feet. And we're going to try to squeeze, push your feet into the block, and at the same time, knees up and out. I'm going to hold on to my ankles here and try to pull the chest a little bit higher up. And then release and switch the block so now it's in a longer position and the feet go closer together. And you do the same thing. We're just actively squeezing our feet into the block and at the same time trying to extend our knees out towards the side. Over time, the knees might go a little bit closer to the ground here, but do all of that by finding length. Okay, our block usually has 3 widths, yeah? So now if you pick it up on the highest height and bring your feet closer together again, and you might be just changing your hands around if you're not using a block. Squeeze into the fist or your block and extend knees out to the side. Keep pulling the chest up. Release the block. Now feet all the way together in your typical Baddha Konasana. Take the hands behind you, lift the chest up, look up towards the ceiling, press the feet in and extend the knees out. And release. Hug the knees in. Drop your chest away from the knees, so like a cat rounded position in the back. And then pull the belly into your thighs, and again try to look up towards the wall and ceiling, meet each other. At the same time, like you're rowing, pull your elbows back. Squeeze tips of the shoulder blades in. Try to broaden across the collarbone. Okay. Enough of that. Come on over to all fours. In all fours, place the hands right underneath your shoulders, knees underneath the hips, and let's do cat and cow. Move the spine back and forth. Pull the chest forward and through, eyes and tailbone up. Let the back round, press down through the hands and knees, drop the head. Cat pose. Back and forth. I usually inhale as I pull the chest forward and through in cow, and exhale for cat. You can do the opposite breath as well. And then change again, downward facing dog. So extend the hands out a little further, tuck the toes, lift the hips. In down dog, feel free to find some movement, pedal the feet, shake the head, wag through the hips. For a moment, look forward, bend your knees a bit so that you've taken the worry out of the hamstrings or low back. Put your attention to your hands, a little more claw underneath all 10 fingers. Push especially through that first finger, through your thumb as well. Lift the hips higher. Tone in the abdomen, and then stretch the legs straighter again. Heels towards the ground. They don't have to come all the way down. We're looking for the length first in the spine. Lower the knees down to your mat, child's pose. Press the hips back as you reach the arms still forward. Walk both hands over to the right side. 1 or 2 breaths there. And then walk the hands across the center over to the second side. 1 or 2 breaths here. And then bring it back to the middle. Come to all fours and step your right foot forward. Keep both hands to the inside of your foot. Low lunge, lift the back knee. Here, lift the hips a couple of inches higher. Make your back leg straight. Firm the muscles to the bone. Now, spin the back heel down. Point the toes a little bit out to the side. Down dog lunge. Walk your hands out towards the left corner of the yoga mat. And then can you broaden your right knee enough that it moves away from your right shoulder? Push a little more into your back leg. Keep doing those things and walk your hands slightly to the left. Don't let the right knee fall in as you do so. It likes to follow your hands. Keep broadening out. And then walk the hands back in. Okay, downward facing dog. So step your right foot all the way back. Same leg, cross your right ankle over the left thigh. So you're making a figure 4 shape underneath your body. Bend your knee a lot until you feel much more towards the 6, the 7, or even the 8 in a stretch in your outer hip, right outer hip, your glute. Flex your right foot, spread your toes. So you can kind of feel that pressure of the muscle in the right calf against your left thigh. Super important preparatory pose for today. Okay, downward facing dog. And then drop the knees down. Walk the hands a little to the right so you can bring the left foot forward into your low lunge. Pop up the back knee. Okay, bring the hips a little higher, and that is so we have the space to get into our down dog lunge. Lost the words for a second there. Spin the back heel down. Make this back leg really strong for you. And from the strength of the back leg, we'll start to bend the front knee just a little bit more and off to the left. At the same time, walk your hands out. I actually have a lot more pressure on my left hand than the right so that I can keep that widening. And then try to keep doing that, but walk your hands more towards the right. It might be more doable as you walk your hands out to the right side because it gives you a little bit more space, but it's actually more work, I think, to then keep that opening in the hips happening. Oof, quite enough. Okay, come back around. Step back to downward facing dog. And then with a little bend in the knees, cross the left ankle over the right thigh. Take the time, try to get it there. And then press from the hands to get your hips higher. As the hips go higher, more intensity into the stretch. Again, flex your your left foot, your lifted leg. Spread the toes so that the muscles in the calf stay engaged, making this a nice, safe, stabilizing position in the knee and hip. Okay, 2 feet to the ground. Down to the knees, take child's pose for a moment, like full restful child's pose. And then bring yourself upright so you're sitting back on your heels, knees together now. And you can always be up in a higher position if that's better for your body. And we're just taking a simple twist. Look over your right side. And look over your left side. And then back to your center. Stand up. Let's integrate a little bit of this work into slightly lifted heart rate for our sun salutations. So come up to the front end of your yoga mat. Last week, we did a lot of belly down, back bend work. We'll make sure that's integrated as we get into the sun salutations here. Okay, lift the arms up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Bring the hands to your thighs and get all the room that you possibly can. Nice L shape in the body. And step back to plank. From the top of the push-up, as always, squeeze the heels, squeeze the glutes, nice and strong. Lengthen your tailbone towards your heels. Tone in the belly, look a little forward of the hands. Always make your arms as straight as possible. That straightening will help to tone the muscle. And then slowly lower down. Lie all the way to the belly. Reach the hands back, palms to the sky. Shalabhasana, locust pose. Lift everything that you can. Actively squeeze the heels towards each other. Make them touch if that works or not. And lower it down. Press back to child's pose. Give it a breath there. From child's pose, downward facing dog. Tuck the toes, lift the hips. Take the right leg up into the air, three-legged dog. And step it all the way forward to low lunge. Keep the back heel lifted. Come up to high lunge. Feet should be hip distance apart, so 2 different railroad tracks to work with. Easier on balance there. Lift the arms up. Interlace the hands, send thumb and first finger high. And then shoot the arms an extra inch or 2 higher up. And do that from the back body. A lot of times when I shoot up, it's from just the chest and the belly button goes forward. Try to pull your belly button back away from your t-shirt and think of the extension happening from the mid to low back. And then lower the hands down and switch sides. Left foot forward, right foot back. Come upright, arms to the sky. Different in the arms this time. Bend the elbows like goalpost or goddess arms. Think breath through mid to low back, but at the same time, try to lift the chest and lean back just a bit. And stretch the arms straight, lower them down. Step backwards, three-legged dog. Send the left leg up into the air. And then just set it down. 2 breaths. Look forward to your hands. Step or jump to the front of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Stand up, reach the arms to the sky. Bring palms together, center of the chest. Take a breath in. Empty it out. One more time through the flow series, lift the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Step back to plank position. Keep going, I am watching. Lower flat down against your yoga mat. Hands back behind you. Keep them open or try interlacing the hands. Lift everything that you can up. If the hands are interlaced, try to get the head of the shoulder to move up with you. It's hard. Good. Lower it down. Press back to child's pose for just a moment. And then to downward facing dog. Lift the hips. We're going to start on the left side this time. So left leg up into the air, three-legged dog. Left leg high. And step it all the way forward to your low lunge. Come up to high lunge. Arms to the sky. Hinge forward from the waist. We'll add a twist here, palms together. Take the right elbow towards the left. Hook the elbow to the opposite side of the thigh. Or hook air and stay a little bit more lifted. Untwist, set the hands down, step the right foot forward, step the left foot back. Come up to high lunge. Hinge forward, palms together, hook the left elbow towards the right side, either hooked in space or against the outer thigh. Slowly release the twist, lower your hands, right foot goes all the way up and back, three-legged dog. And then set it down. This time, one more time through plank pose, come forward. Go a quarter of the way down, little tiny bend in the elbows, little bit more. And then release all the way to the mat. Take the arms straight out in front of you. Separate the arms and the legs about as wide as your yoga mat. Superhero, lift up. Exhale, lower it down. Push to downward facing dog. Look forward in between the hands. Step, walk, jump to the front. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Stand all the way up, reach the arms to the sky. And palms together, center of the chest. Take a little pause. Find a steady gaze or close the eyes. Notice the intensity of the heat in the body. How does it change how you feel within this time for practice? Release the hands and give everything a little bit of a shake. Okay, we're ready to use the long side of our yoga mat. Take a wide stance, point the toes straight ahead, the heels straight back, extend the arms out. Turn your right toes all the way out. If you're looking down at your feet, we want to have the front heel directly drawing a line to the middle of the back foot. Bend the right knee a lot, warrior two. As you come into warrior two, try not to take your torso with you. Keep pulling the left shoulder back over the left hip. Use your right hand for a moment to the inner thigh and just brush all the way from pelvis towards the knee. As you brush the hand, sit a little bit lower, open up. A lot of times for me, just that little bit of tactile use of your own body can really support to enhance the poses. And then let's go elbow to knee, top arm, palm down overhead. Look down at your right foot. Can you place both hands to the inside of the foot? Maybe heel toe one step over so that if we were at first lined up heel to the middle of the back foot, we've heel toed it over, so now it's a heel to heel line. Just a little bit broader. Okay, hands could be using a yoga block here to make that an easier reach. Try to go palms flat against the ground rather than fingertips. Still with me? Can your upper arm bone move into your left inner thigh? Not your thigh into your arm, but can you move your arm to pressure and open to the inner thigh? That should be deep. Now, left arm back out in front of you. I'm sorry if I was wrong on my rights and lefts there. I forget sometimes that I'm mirroring you guys. Open it up. So now we're in side angle pose with the bottom hand down. And then come all the way back to warrior two. And straighten the right leg. Turn the toes, and we'll go to the other side. I'll get it right here. So now we're turning our left toes out, and I want you to start with that heel to the middle of the back foot alignment. Bend the left knee a lot. For the beginning pose, you're pulling your right shoulder back over the line of the left, over the line of the right hip. Eee. And then change just slightly, elbow to knee, top arm palm down overhead. This is our starter for side angle pose. Now, we're going to look down at the left foot and try to walk the hands down to the floor or underneath our yoga block. Heel toe, the left foot, more to the left so that you've changed your alignment heel to heel. That's giving ourselves a little more space. And then can you continue to descend the front knee more towards the front big toe? And move your left arm bone towards your left thigh. Arm bone towards your thigh. It should sort of pin it back. Now open the chest and take the top arm palm down and reach overhead again. Try to keep all of that little extra depth. So if you started at a 6, you definitely went to an 8 in your stretch. Come back upright, hold warrior 2. Straighten the leg, turn on the toes, and heel toe it in. My goodness, shake out the legs. Still, using your yoga block, come back to the top edge of your yoga mat. High lunge, right foot forward, step the left foot back, arms overhead. Take the back foot in like 2 inches, tiny bit forward, shorter stance. Then press the left heel down. So you're back to that heel to heel alignment. Straighten the right leg, 2 straight legs. Square the hips and the shoulders more towards the front of your mat, short side of the mat. Okay, let's take it all over. Hands down to the floor or underneath your yoga block. If your hands reach the floor, take fingertips on either side of your front foot. Round your back slightly and send your forehead closer to your shin or ankle. And that's a key here. We're not trying to round to the knee. We're trying to round with a lengthened spine. So we go more forehead to mid-shin. Push down and out through your front big toe, your back outer heel. Take both hands to your waist. No wobble, no bobble. Come on up. So as strengthened as we can. And then little bend in the knee and switch sides. Left foot forward, right foot back, high lunge. Reach your arms up to the sky. Stay in high lunge, arms up, nice long spine. Slightly shorter stance. Tap the back toes in just a tiny bit. Spin the back heel down. Go 2 straight legs and keep getting taller as you do so. Hinge forward at the hip. And take the arms down to a block, your leg, or the floor. If you're using a block, I usually place it on the inside of the foot. If you happen to have 2, they could be on either side. Tone in the belly, tone in the legs. Bring your hands back to the waist. Come all the way upright. Looks good there. Step both feet to the front of the mat. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, forward fold. Fingertips to the ground. Let the head relax here for a moment. With all 10 fingers on the ground, make the legs as straight as they'll go. Lift through the back side here, from your heels towards the hips. Think lift until it goes a little straighter. Change to plank pose. From plank pose, for just a moment, lower your knees down and then go to your forearms. Once you're on your forearms, pop your knees back up, palms down. So if possible, don't interlace the hands and try to make a box from fingertips back to the elbow, elbow straight up to the shoulder. My thumbs are trying to reach each other without successfully doing so. Squeeze in the glutes, lengthen your tailbone, do all the other good work of plank pose. Hold it, do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then lower the knees and lower your chest all the way down. You can create a little pillow with your hands for your forehead and rock the hips a bit from side to side for a moment. Okay, Sphinx pose. So it's that same box that we just made with the arms. Forearms steady against the mat, elbows right underneath the shoulders. Press the hands and forearms down to try to lift through the chest. In Sphinx pose, for just a moment, can you take your legs a little wider apart, like as wide as your yoga mat? Instead of squeezing the glutes, like I so often ask, try to relax here. More of a yen posture. Feel the curve in the low back and the lift in the chest, but less muscular tone for just a moment. And then release it all the way down. Change your hands for Cobra. Bhujangasana. So hands under the line of the shoulders, top of the chest. Hug the elbows close into the side. Bring the feet closer together. Do make the glutes and legs really strong. Tap the top of the feet down to the mat. And then press about 20% of your weight into the hands and start to lift the chest. It's like baby cobra. And then give a little more press into the hands so that your chest lifts higher. Maybe belly button, top of the hip off of the floor, but full thigh still on the ground. Keep some bend in the elbows still, squeeze it into the side. And then from there, make sure you're pressing into your thumbs to give you more lift. Press into your thumbs. And slowly, slowly lower down. Child's pose, press your hips back. Our first look at pigeon. Bring your right knee to the right wrist, heel towards the left hip. And this is kind of the typical look that we do in class. Walk your left leg back, but keep your hips square and a little lifted from the ground. Go down to your forearms. So in this first variation of pigeon prep, it really is all about creating a little bit of space, an opening in the outer hip, the right outer hip, the front leg. Try to keep the pelvis square, the weight distribution even. And then come back upright in your torso. The hands are out in front of you. They can be on the ground or even propped underneath some height of your yoga block to make that a little more doable. Tuck the back toes if not already, and dig the back knee down and forward. As I dig my back knee down and forward, it makes my pelvic floor pop up a little bit. I want to keep that strength. And then can you change your weight so that the hands can come to your hips? So this is all about strengthen the legs. Squeeze in to the center. If the hands can stay here, can they also go up to the sky? If the hands can stay up, is there any bit of room for you to walk the left knee further back? And then bring the hands down if they're lifted, all the way to the floor of the block. Lean forward enough that it feels safe to walk the left knee forward and come around to all fours. Stretch back to downward facing dog. Okay, second side. So left knee towards the left wrist. I've got a strong angle of the left heel in towards the right hip. Don't try to bring it out here. And then come all the way down to the forearms. So this is probably what feels most natural if you've been practicing pigeon pose. Keep enough strength, enough activity to keep the body balanced, weight on each side, front to back. A good hip stretch. Okay, and then these more that we explore is going to be about strengthening the posture. Come back upright in the torso. Place hands. Again, if you're leaning a little bit forward, that's going to make it easier to start with. Hands can go higher underneath a block if you're not sure. Try using it. And then with the hands on the block, you've already brought your weight up and a little bit back to support you. Remember, back knee, push it down and pull it forward a little bit. And that should give you that little elevator lift underneath the pelvis. We're not trying to push our hips down here. I'm trying to keep them a little lifted. And then within that, stretch the arms up. And if you're losing the intensity of strength along any of these challenge points, you go back to where you weren't overly challenged. Like, you're working hard, but if it becomes a split point, no good. And then we bring our hands down, lean forward enough that I can walk the back knee in, round to all fours, and then downward facing dog. Lower your knees, sit back on your heels for a moment, and just kind of take in a couple of breaths, settle, feel grounded. Okay, next thing we're gonna do, so we definitely wanna use our yoga block. If you do not have a yoga block, you can take a blanket and roll it up so that you have some height or a stack of books. But probably something on the softer side will feel better. So I have a foam block and a cork block. I'm using my foam block here because it's just a little bit easier. Place your block on the right side of your mat and step your right foot towards the left side. I'm going to angle myself. How am I going to do this? I'm just going to do my best with what you guys can see. All right, I've got the block on the right side. I've stepped to the left side. And this is just a little engineering. You got to do your best so that you know your sticky points. I'm going to lean off to the right side and try to line up the front of my foot with the front of my yoga block. Front of the foot with the front of the yoga block. And the yoga block is going to be there to just rest and give me some height. I'm trying to get into a very parallel line on the front shin with the front of the mat. And I'm kind of like all off balance, but I can use the support of the yoga block to start to walk the left leg further back. If my knee was all the way down to the floor, my hips cannot rotate down. So I'm giving some height underneath that right knee. Some options without a block are to hold the right knee up and just do it all with strength from the core, from the glutes. Depending on how you feel, bring your torso back upright and try arms to the sky. Push down into the block, down into the pinky toe edge of your right foot to help. Not super long, and be just as careful coming up. Sole the right foot. Slide it back. Okay, any questions there? It's kind of a tricky one. Let's try the second side. Yes. Tuck the back toes underneath and use that back leg as strongly as you would in a standing lunge. Yeah. Okay, let's try the second side. So you're going to move the block over to the other side. Step your left foot towards the right. Start to come to the pinky toe edge of the foot like you would in a side plank. Take the time. Set down the knee. Yeah, so the back toes, I've got them tucked underneath. I'm using the right knee a lot. And just slowly walk it back. Woo, what a difference a side can make. So I'm going to stay really forward with my torso and a lot of weight in the hands for this side. I know there's no way that I can bring my hands back and get the torso upright while keeping the hips square, while keeping the shin parallel to the top edge of the mat. Be good to yourself. Do what works. And it's all just good feedback. And the deeper you are in the stretch, the more slowly we need to work out of the pose. I'm just going to wrench my right knee more forward until I know that I don't have to put any weight in the left leg to get it out. Sit back. Give it a moment. All right, so that turn of the leg is giving us a lot of clues as to what can happen when we stand up and try it in a balance. So everybody stand up. If you have a wall to hold on to with a hand or your full back to the wall, use it here. You could also hold on to like a chair or something, okay? And then I want you to cross your right ankle over the left leg and make that same shape that we were trying to make down on our yoga mat a moment before. Sit. If your back is against a wall, you can sit against that wall so that you have your good figure 4 shape. If you're using the wall or the chair with just one hand out, you're sitting back as if you're sitting into a chair, but holding some balance. Okay. From there, take both hands and hold on to your knee and to your foot. And try to pick your leg up and stand up. One hand to steady you as needed. Back against the wall for even more support. Go back down. Bend the standing leg. Set your leg down and stand up. 2 feet to the ground. Give it a little bit of a wiggle. Okay, second side. Sit towards chair pose. Cross your left ankle over the right. Maybe arms extend. And then you gotta lean forward. Get a hold of your leg. I remember that on my second side, I couldn't stand all the way up, keeping my leg parallel. So I'm not gonna be too hard on myself here that I can't get all the way upright in the torso. Pretty darn close with the support of the wall. But keep in mind, like what works in one pose, that shape's gonna hold about the same in the second plane as well. Set it back down, 2 feet to the floor, and shake it out. Okay, so we're starting to see those rotation points. We're gonna give it a go one more time in the standing pigeon. Of course, you can still use support if you wanna give it a go. Both hands at the hips. Go back into your figure 4. Think chair pose. Lean forward. This time, instead of picking up your leg, can you keep leaning forward and take your hands down? If you've taken your hands all the way down to the floor, can you hook your left upper arm bone and your foot to one another? So I've got my right foot hooked around my left upper arm bone. And then bend the standing knee a little bit more. Woo! Until that makes the hips sing a little bit more. That's always just that little bit more. On your way back up, take your foot for a ride, hold on, stand up, pick up your knee and foot again. Can you hook your forearms underneath your shin? And my can you is really those internal questions like, do I want to? Yes, I'll try it. Maybe, maybe not. Where am I present to sit and stay with this today? Hook the elbows around your foot and knee. And as you progress into those deeper holds, remembering how much the body could withstand keeping the shin parallel and the torso upright from where you were before. It's 2 feet to the ground, shake it out. Second side, when you're ready, use a wall, use some stability, or try the balance in the middle. Left ankle over the right thigh. We're going to bend the knee, sit a little lower, extend the arms out and up. Good. Make sure you flex your foot here as if it's already trying to catch hold around your upper arm bone, and then lean forward. Fingertips all the way to the ground. Fingertips underneath a block, you could do that one. And can you catch your left foot around your right upper arm bone? And bend the right knee a little deeper. As you walk out of it, catch hold of your foot and knee. Lift your chest and your leg at the same time. Stand up. Good. If you're holding forearms underneath the shin or elbows around the foot and knee, make sure you can still flex the foot rather than sickle. And then slowly walk your way out of the pose. Give those legs a shake. We're going to feel this the rest of the day, tomorrow, right? I know. Come up to the front of the mat. Inhale, lift the arms to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Downward facing dog, step it all the way back. Pedal the feet. Lift the right leg up into the air, three-legged dog. Step the foot all the way forward into your low lunge. Drop the back knee down. If you'd like to pad the back knee, double fold your mat or slide the blanket that you have nearby underneath the knee. Bring both hands up to the front thigh. As if the bones in your leg are getting longer, try to extend the knee further towards the front of your mat. Remember that little loop in the low back that I mentioned at the beginning? Try to pull some energy into the mid to low back, but at the same time, lift your chest up and reach your arms to the sky. For a moment, drop the hands down either side of the front foot and pull your front heel back towards your knee like 1 or 2 inches, not a lot. Shorten your stride, in other words, 1 or 2 inches. And then do the exact same thing again. Hands to the front thigh, as if you're trying to make these bones grow longer. Send the knee down and forward. It might now be going past the line of your ankle. Keep your heel on the ground. Don't let it come off of the ground. Notice what's happening in your back leg. My hip flexor just got a little more stretch. Remembering not to overstretch. Keep towards that 7 or 8, but not beyond it. Squeeze the hips in so that that's not too much. Back off if it feels like too much. Lift both arms up to the sky. Can you keep all of this happening and pull the left heel in towards your outer sit bone? Bend at your elbows, hold on to your elbows, or imagine your arms reaching further back to hold on to your foot. Slowly come out of all of that. Hamstring stretch, kick your hips back. second side. Step the left foot forward. Okay, so we start in our full stride. If you're upright, it's like knee over ankle, hips over the back knee, hands to the front thigh. Let the hips move down and forward. Be strong and steady to the core, to the central part of the body. Lift the arms up to the sky. A few breaths, and then we back off and scoot the front heel towards the back knee 1 or 2 inches, shorter stride now, and redescend into the posture. Deeper flexion in the ankle, keep the heel on the ground. So if the ankle doesn't flex that far, you have to stay a little further back. Don't overdo it in the back leg. Squeeze your butt like crazy, it'll help. And I am digging my back knee down and forward in action so that I can bend the back knee and pull the heel in towards the seat without pain. It's also why we might have double folded. Stay and work there, or maybe hold on to your elbows. The arms could stay straight and just reach back. I'm not a big back bender. I just do my best and try. We all do, right? Ay, ay, ay. Come out of that. Stretch the front leg straight. Nice little flex in the hamstring. Okay. Do the next thing that would feel good to you. Is it down dog or a little bit of all fours, cat and cow? And sit back again on the heels. Okay, we're going to do one more thing with pigeon pose, and then we're done. A quick cool down and Shavasana. So one more thing. Go back to your original pigeon. Right knee towards the right wrist, heel tucked in towards the left hip. And right here, you can be like, I want to play with that front shin more parallel to the top of the mat now. If you're doing that, pull the heel out first with the knee lifted, like it was trying to go down to that yoga block, and slowly release the knee down. I can't quite keep it parallel with the hips square, so then you just kind of adjust in little bits, little bits. Keep the back toes tucked and slowly walk the left knee back until more of the left thigh is on the ground. Come forward down to the forearms. So if everything we were doing before, we were trying to start at that 5 or 6 on the intensity level, with all that hard work and dedication through this practice, this might now be towards the 8, but please don't make it towards the 9 or 10. It's hard to have longevity in our practice if all we do is end range or try to get to end range stretching. I just don't think it's beneficial. There should always be that little elasticity that keeps us strong and stable within a good range of motion. Okay, you can stay forward or come back upright in the torso and pull the back heel in. I'm going to put my right hand to the front of the right shin, forward enough that I have enough leverage. Spin the left arm behind you, thumb up, and try to hook in on the big toe side of your foot. And then pull the heel in towards the outer sit bone. I'm looking back at it the whole time. As the heel comes in, fingertips rotate down, elbow up. And then I think it's a lot of work to re-square hips and shoulders towards the front of the mat. So do your best. Maybe right hand to the thigh if that's happening. And then very slow and steady wins the longevity race in this practice. Release. Bring the back knee in. All fours. Downward facing dog. If you're feeling the least bit uneven here, I don't think we got the big lift on the left side. Lift the left leg up. And then set it into your pigeon. Left knee towards the left wrist. Heel. Keep it close into the right hip, or you can safely pull the ankle out towards the line of the right wrist and lower the left knee. Again, come down and forward. This is a great bus stop, a nice place to get off and stay for a while. Stick with it there. Or add these more challenging options. Torso back upright. Just holding upright. You've got an immediate back bend that starts to happen in the spine. Pull the right heel in towards the outer sit bone. Again, my hips are quite a bit off of the yoga mat here. I haven't used a block or anything to steady myself, so that I'm making myself use all the power that I can. And then right hand, look back, thumb, hook on the big toe side. If the thumb is hooked on the big toe side and you have a little bit more range in the quads, start to pull your heel in towards the outer sit bone, which will spin the fingers down and the elbow up. If all of that is happening, heel towards the outer sit bone, start to square the hips and shoulders back towards the front. And it's a turn in your hips and torso, not in the leg or knee. As slowly as you came into the pose, go out of the pose and make your way back, everyone, to downward facing dog. One more time. Hard work, advanced poses, but stage by stage, hoping to find our own bus stop that we need. Change here to lie down onto your back. Pull the knees into the chest. Cross the right ankle over the left thigh, figure four shape. You did this in balance, standing on that left foot. Now it's just in the air. Second side, left ankle over the right thigh. Okay, soles of the feet on the mat. Feet as wide as the mat, let the knees fall in. Hands over the belly, give yourself a few breaths. And really check in. Is there any last little bits of unwinding or movement that you would like today? I'm exhausted. I'm just going to lay here. Maybe you're ready for that too. Extend the arms and legs for Shavasana. You can use a bit of mantra in Shavasana to help to quiet the mind, touch the thumb and first finger together, and then go to the second, the third, and the fourth, third, second, first, over and over until you feel a little softer, a little quieter. From your stillness, from your quiet, move the fingers, move the toes. Follow the breath again. And take your time to come back up to a seated position. Sit in a way that feels good to you. To give gratitude to yourself this time for practice, bring the palms together and the thumbs to the sternum. And we'll offer that gratitude forward. Do that through the sound of Om. Here at the close, you're welcome to sing along. You're welcome to listen. You're welcome to tune it out. Or maybe you have a different way to sing to close. We're all on mute, it doesn't matter. Take a deep breath in. From the light within me, I bow and graciously thank you for that within you. Namaste. Okay, friends, thanks for class.